Live, not from New York. It's the Get Clear Show. And now, here's Laura.
Hello and welcome to the Get Clear Show. I'm Laura Wing and I'm your host. We have an exciting show for you today. Today, I have the privilege of sitting with Marcia Whyte, and she's here from Gratitude Speak. And I'm just so excited to get to introduce her to you. But before we do that, there are some people that I'd like to recognize and I want to tell you about. I'd like to send a big shout out to our sponsor for today's show. And her name is Renee Padigo. And Renee has a wonderful business called A Plan in Hand, where she helps people make plans for various family tragedies, disasters, even illnesses, and unfortunately, the thing we don't like to talk about, death. So what to do if somebody becomes sick in your family and you need to help them, or what to do if there's been a tragedy or death in your family. Renee is a person for you to get a hold of, and you can find her at www.aplaninhand.com. So yeah, you'll want to go check Renee out. She has some really, really good ideas and some wonderful ways to help people when they're going through difficult times in their life. I'd also like to go ahead and send a big shout out to Hua Photography. You can find Hua Photography by going to Facebook. Just type in Hua Photography and go to their business page. What beautiful pictures you'll see there, some wonderful photography. She takes family photos, baby photos, wedding photos, one of the top photographers in the United States. And I think that you will really enjoy what you see when you get over to her page on Facebook. Okay, well, right now, let's go ahead and get started with our show. I want to introduce you to a woman that I met online on Facebook. Don't we all meet each other on Facebook these days? And her name is Marcia Whyte, and she runs an amazing little group on Facebook called Gratitude Speak. And she has a fantastic story to share with you today about how Gratitude Speak was born and her online business journey and all of the wonderful things that she has going on. So welcome to the show, the beautiful, I'm sorry, I said Renee, but I meant Marcia. Welcome to the show, Marcia Whyte. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me. It's a lot of fun to talk with you. So, hi everybody.
Marcia, I am so excited that you're here today because I had the chance to get to talk to you on the phone. I think it was about 2 weeks ago that we spoke, and you shared with me just a little bit about your online journey and how Gratitude Speak sort of was born out of some of the experiences that you have had in your personal life. And so I was hoping that you would share that with our audience today, because as somebody who does a lot of marketing and just a lot of online stuff, I felt that we had a kindred spirit, and I wanted everybody to get to hear about your business.
Absolutely. Well, Gratitude Speak is a public speaking platform as well as a sales, mentoring, and coaching business that was born out of a personal tragedy in my life. I had to leave about 2.5 years ago a lucrative, long-standing sales career that I was becoming increasingly disillusioned with, coupled with my husband combating a very serious illness. And the company, in short, was not willing to work with me when I explained to them the path that we were on and the treatment that we were facing. And so I had a decision to make as to staying and pursuing the dollar or being there for my family. And obviously it was a no-brainer for me. But in the meantime, it was, I have to do something. I've got this training, I've got the experience. And of course, as everybody watching knows, you always have bills coming in. And I didn't want him to worry about that. And so we had a conversation, and he simply said to me, you haven't been happy there in a long time. And if it's no longer serving you, then leave. And so I did. But again, I was faced with, what do I do now? Well, I had at the time almost 30 years, and now I've crossed that threshold, about 30 years of pastoral ministry experience. I've done some other things professionally, but I thought, well, those are really my gifts and strengths. And so I need to share how I was able to translate some of those gifts in terms of relationship building and honoring the human dynamic and craft those into a business and a brand. And so that's how Gratitude Speak was born. And it's really not, Laura, about sitting around the campfire singing Kumbaya. It really is, in my mind, a language and a practice all its own. And so my tagline is relationship should always trump the transaction, because anyone that we do business with is a person, and they need to be treated as such, as opposed to like a commodity where they only matter until I get the signature on the check or the credit card has cleared. And so now what I do is I help other professionals leverage their business relationships to get more retention, more referrals, which leads to more revenue. And so it's a win-win. The clients are happy and my clients are happy. And so that's how Gratitude Speak was born. Mm-hmm.
Well, we had a little conversation prior to this show starting as to how you came up with the name Gratitude Speak. And I think naturally people want to put an S after that word speak and make it Gratitude Speaks.
Yes.
But you were explaining to me about the language of gratitude. You want to share that with our viewers for just a moment?
Yes. Again, it goes back to, I'm kind of old school. And so I wanted to show people how it is possible to enter into any transaction, especially one leading to business, by showing your authentic self and letting your client or prospect be their authentic self in tangible ways. You know, because people, we're at a place now that people can get information in a minute and they can see if you're authentic, they can sense if you're authentic. And so if you treat them with kindness and decency and authenticity, as well as your professionalism, that to me is Gratitude Speak. So
it's a language of gratitude. And I think that language can be expressed in many ways, not just verbally, but in the things that we do. We show our gratitude towards others. We show our gratitude for the life that we've been given in the way that we treat people, in the way that we conduct business. And so I love the name of it. And I loved when I found the Gratitude Speak collaboration group on Facebook. I was really excited when I found that. And I know that group is relatively new and it is evolving and it's beginning to take on its own personality, but in such a short amount of time, you've already been gaining new members on a regular basis. Would it be okay if we went ahead and showed that group to can I go ahead and show that to them?
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Give me just a second here to pull that up. So if somebody goes to Facebook, they can search for Gratitude Speak Collaborates, and they'll find this group that you founded, that you started. And there's a lot of activity going on this group, and I see more activity every day. It seems like every morning I get up and, there's something from Marcia to go look at, which is really exciting, and it gives people a sense of connection to other people who are like-minded and, living with that sense of gratitude where they want to be, as you said, authentic and help other people and be just part of this, human experience that we all go through. So you want to talk a little about this group?
Yes, thank you. Gratitude Speak Collaborates is, to me, a very special group. It was the kind of group that I actually had been searching for to engage in, and I didn't find quite what I wanted. And so what is that saying, be the change you wish to see in the world? And so I thought, well, we'll just make one. And so we started it, I think the very end of June of this year, 2016. And within 2 weeks, we had 100 members. And it has started to really, as you said, take on a life and a personality all its own. We don't do, overt selling and spamming, but we wanted a place where business owners, entrepreneurs could come together, network, share relevant experiences and relevant knowledge, be they a video or a link to an article, or talk about goods and services in a responsible way so that there's business passed. I mean, there are referrals being shared in the group, but no one gets the sense that it's about buy from me, buy from me. We also have, as you know, members only educational webinars every month. And
Yes.
Ironically, one of your sponsors will be one of our presenters in November, because I think that's a critical conversation to have. And that is a time when I really allow the presenter to do their pitch at the end of the webinar. But we want to give a service first. So as the leader, as a leader,
yes, and I'm excited. I'm excited about that, because so many times you join a Facebook group and it's really all about people putting their personal brand out there in hopes to gain business. It's just very self-centered. It's very selfish. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all have to participate in business and we all have to network, and that's what makes business go round. But it is refreshing to be a part of a group where that's not what's happening. It's just a place for people to support each other. And certainly if you happen to meet somebody along the way and it turns into a good collaboration, a good business collaboration between the two of you, that's wonderful. But it's not an in-your-face type of thing.
Absolutely.
And that's how you and I met, and what a great opportunity for us to get to connect and do some things together.
Yes, ma'am.
But still support each other if we find that, hey, we don't really have any projects to work on together.
Right.
But we can still support one another and
Right.
be of value to each other just as human beings. And I really like that. I think that this group potential, and I really see it being one of the #1 groups on Facebook very shortly. Very short
Well,
amount of time.
The members, I have to give the kudos to them. It's because of the membership that this group has grown and prospered and gotten the exposure that it has. And so that makes me very proud. But one of my commitments was to pour into you guys. And so that's why I post so many things, because I want to keep that tone going. So you'll always open every morning and there'll be something different from me.
Yes, and educational. It's not just fluff. I mean, there's some nice stuff there too, where it's inspirational and it just makes you feel good. But there's some educational stuff too, and you've been doing a remarkable job of putting some content videos out there. I know one of your videos has to do with a very special event that's coming up tomorrow. I think it's your birthday. It is your birthday. And
Do
so,
I have to tell which birthday?
no, you don't have to tell us that. I won't ask you that question. But it's something so unique. And most people wait for their birthday present to come to them. And instead, for your birthday, you gave to those members that are in that group. And I thought that was remarkable. But talk about that a little bit. Tell everybody, what you did for the group and what program you've developed, because I think it's incredible.
Thank you. It's called, as the title of my soon-to-be published book, and we'll get to that in a minute, it's called From Loss to Leadership, because that really is my story. And I know that all of us at some point have experienced loss, and some of us have been leveled. But it's from our greatest weakness that we find our greatest strength in both life and business. And so I have designed a VIP session. It is a mini intensive. It's 2 hours. It's a lot of work. But if you are struggling in your business because your confidence has been shaken, or you've experienced some kind of loss, whether it's, in my case, the death of a loved one, or maybe it's a career, that you were planning on for a long time, but it suddenly goes away, or whatever the situation, it leads to self-doubt, because as humans, it's very easy to get in that mindset. And so I want to work with you and give you the opportunity to dig deep in that dark place, find the lesson, and find your strength, because the world is waiting to see and hear what lies within each of us. And so for today, tomorrow, and Friday, it's being offered at a very discounted investment.
And that's just for members of the group, is that correct?
No, actually, that is not for members of the group.
Oh,
I decided for anyone online that wants to take advantage of it, I can give the link, but understand this link will come down midnight September 23rd, 2016.
So they better hurry up.
They better hurry up. It just went up today and it's gone Friday night. It is bit.ly/GS, just like Gratitude Speak, birthday special.
Okay, and we'll make sure that we put that in the description of this episode too,
Okay.
so that our viewers can take a look at that and possibly click on the link if they get to it on time, because it's a very short time. Now that program itself is not going to go away, just the discount, is that right?
No, ma'am.
They can still get. So you mentioned your book that I know it's not out yet, but you just approved the cover for that, didn't you?
Yesterday afternoon, I certainly did. So it's getting closer, and if I was the cheerleader type personality, I'd be shaking my pom-poms right now.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited. And it's called Gratitude Speak, From Loss to Leadership. And it really tells a little bit more of the story, as well as the lessons that I learned and how I am, again, translating that and offering myself and my experience to help others bring out their leader and be better in the professions that they choose. Yeah.
Well, I know I'm excited about that, and I've been, watching the videos on the group, and I'm very excited about that, and I can't wait to get the book, because I think anybody who is in any kind of a business, and maybe not even in business, but just going through life in general, has had something that has been impactful to them, and unfortunately not necessarily in a positive way. Like you said, the loss of a career, the loss of a loved one, something that has sort of taken the wind out of their sails. And how to go from that place to move into a place not only of gratitude, but of comfort and success, I think is a message that anybody can tap into and hear. And I'm getting the feeling that that's really what your book is about. Am I right?
It is, with what I actually offer, so they can see if it's a fit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to read the book. I really am.
Thank you.
And I know how exciting it is when you first write a book and it's coming out and you're waiting for that to, come out and people have an opportunity at it. I was able to publish my first book a few months ago, although it's not as intense as what you've got going on there. So I know the pom-pom shaking thing. I remember when I got my first batch of books in the mail and I was like, yes, it's actually in print. It's it's a pretty exciting thing.
Yay.
Really exciting moment. So I'm very, very interested in talking with you a little bit about some of the ways that people can turn those losses, the book being From Loss to Leadership, taking some of those losses and learning from them. You had a pretty big loss in your life with the loss of your spouse, and that's been fairly recent. So
yes.
Can you tell us maybe how does somebody go from that space in their life to a new space? Through that?
Well, first of all, let me say it is not without a lot of tears and a lot of introspection and a lot of anger and confusion, because these are all normal emotions that we have to experience. But after a while, when some of the fresh rawness of the situation begins to subside, and you can, as I call it, catch your breath and take a look around, you begin to see that, first of all, life has to go on, because you cannot pitch your tent in a place of unending sorrow. There will never be anyone to fill that particular space in my heart. But Jim, his name was Jim, and I had the kind of marriage that I honor still now, and I want the legacy of what we brought to the table. Because in ministry, we served at some churches together, though we also pastored at separate churches. But there was a strong legacy, a work ethic, values, all of that. And so I want my brand and my business to reflect that, and I want others to be inspired by it. And so it takes a lot of work. If this is not a cakewalk, this is not something that even is going to be covered in the intensive, it's not going to be all neatly packaged in a bow in 2 hours. You'll just be, fixed. But it will get you on the path where you can see what is possible. So for those who do take advantage of the opportunity, know that it is going to be intense, but allow yourself that, because you've earned that right. And that's terribly important. And some of it is still just a continuing evolution, but I found, Laura, that when you know that there is some support system in place, and that you find that there are others that not only have experienced similar things, because no one ever goes through it the exact same way.
Right.
You can gain strength and clarity from that and then carry on. So that's the kind of lessons that we will be getting from that particular intensive, and any other way that I can be of service to them. So,
You know, I don't know if you agree with this or not, Marcia, but here's what I found just with the clients that I've coached through the years. And that is that we all experience pain, first off, a different way. But so many times people are afraid to say, I need help getting through this. They're ashamed of how they're handling that pain, or they're ashamed of how they're handling the grief. And they don't even know how to set up a support system. I think this is very important, because you had mentioned, putting that support system in place, having a good support system. But unfortunately, there are so many people who don't have that. They don't have people who are saying the right things to them, or they're just alone in this world for whatever reason. They don't have a lot of friends, or they don't have, maybe they've moved, and so they're away from the things that were once familiar to them. And that can be a time of grief for people too, just a move like that.
sure.
How does a person go about establishing a support system for themselves if they don't already have one?
Well, one of the things that, even though I had some people that were on the periphery of my life, it was such an intense pain for me. Initially, I just gave myself permission, if you will, to kind of push people away. But then, like I said, at a certain point, I did have my children around me, so that was important. And my mom lives nearby as well, so that helped. But there are, for those who don't have a problem with it, there are churches and community organizations. But then there are also, and I never have been as thankful for technology as I am now, even though I grew up without technology.
Yes, and we'll talk about that in just a minute.
Yeah, but the online, there are so many resources that you can research online. But the first step is recognizing that it's absolutely okay to not be okay, but want to be closer to being okay and to reach out. Because the danger is when you stay to yourself, nobody really knows how to help you. And so the first thing you have to do is decide that it's okay to reach out, and then give yourself time. Start in the neighborhood. If there's a church, you don't have to walk the aisle if you're in a new area, but go. There may be something that someone says or a kind gesture made that helps you through that day. You can, again, look online and get a community group. There are several grief support groups for a variety of different reasons, because loss is loss, no matter what kind it is. The impact is devastating. And then from there, you can reach out to other people. And even though you're far away from maybe where you've moved from the close association of family and friends and community, pick up the telephone, send a text, open the computer, send an email, get that conversation going, because some people are waiting for permission to reach back.
Yes,
So
I
that
think
would be
that's very important.
Yeah.
Very, very important message. And one of the things that I tell people is you can't cure pain with isolation. You cannot cure loneliness with isolation. And too many times that's exactly what I think we do as human beings, is we isolate because we're afraid of taking on more pain. Reaching out to people can be scary, especially for people who don't trust very easily. And so when they are in pain and they try to reach out to somebody, if it doesn't go as well as they expect, they retreat again. And I think that there are so many opportunities for people to get past that. And the online thing is wonderful. I love that you mentioned that. We do live in a day and age now that is better than ever before for being able to connect with one another. We never used to be able to connect like we can now. And certainly what I find so interesting about online technology is when we just had phone books, you would not rifle through the phone book and just pick a random name and say, I think I'll call this person and talk their ear off. However, we get on Facebook and we get into a group such as Gratitude Speak, or other online groups that people might be a part of, and they can see a comment that somebody made and they say, I really like what that person had to say. I'm going to message them. I'm going to start talking to them. We never would have done this 10 years ago, would we?
Yeah, no, because I don't even know that it was possible. Yeah, and now we all have it in our hands. I mentioned over your computer, but you can just pull up your phone, which still just blows me away sometimes. But it's also
it really does.
It's a great tool to use in business as well.
Absolutely. And it's so intriguing to me because you and I did not grow up in a time when we had computers, did we?
No, ma'am.
I had a rotary phone. I'm gonna date myself here, but we had a rotary phone when I was growing up. And hey, kids, for those of you who don't know what that is, they were little holes and you put your finger in it. But yeah, my grandkids will never know what a rotary phone is, and that it was attached to the wall, and we only had one. And
that's right.
All those
and when we didn't want to talk to somebody, we blocked them by taking it off of the receiver and laying it down.
Right, you took it off, and then you had to hear that busy signal until it finally ended.
Yes, absolutely.
It was crazy. But here we are now, and I think it's funny. You probably see this, too, with these younger people. They can get on the computer and do things that blow my mind. And it takes me a little bit longer to learn some of these things. So when I decided that I wanted to start marketing my business online, it didn't come naturally to me. I was used to the days when you went down to the newspaper and you took an ad out in the paper, or if your business had the money to do it, you might be able to take out a local TV ad or radio ad. But people hung flyers, they knocked on doors, they passed out business cards, and certainly we still do those things as well. But anymore, if you are not marketing your business, I don't care what your business is, if you don't have a Facebook page, a website, a Twitter account, Instagram, something that people can go to easily online and see you, you're not really doing business.
Absolutely, I agree. Online marketing has made a huge difference for my brand and my brand awareness. And if I may, let me tell you how that started.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Back in June of this year, and this is only September, but back in June of this year, after a kind of an offhand comment from my coach, and that's another thing, if you're in business, you need somebody to help hold you accountable and guide you through. Nothing wrong with it. Most coaches have coaches. But I decided I was going to do an online visibility challenge. And so it was self-imposed. And I learned how to work Google Hangouts because they automatically populate to YouTube. And I did 30 videos in 30 days.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot.
I know. Well, I'm kind of a little intense like that. And so I fell in love with it, Laura. And my videos by design are, and always have been, and hopefully will continue to be, around 5 minutes. Sometimes I'll go over maybe to 6 minutes, but it was by intention because I wanted to get you, we all have busy lives. So if I can get you through the line at Starbucks, or from your car through the parking lot into your office building or whatever, you'll give me those few minutes. And I I don't sell you anything on there. It's really just business motivational moments using popular culture and current events, because it's the kind of thing that I would want to hear. I drew from the experience of being a pastor, so I knew I didn't have to say it all at once. I would get the microphone again. But the basic lesson is just so concise. I wanted people to be able to get some value. And then I can share with them how they can get in touch with me, how they can book a discovery session with me, or how they can join the Facebook group, those kinds of calls to action. And I tell you what, it has made a huge difference because not only are subscribers beginning to go, you have to give it time to set its own pace.
Yes.
But I'm also able to take those and populate them on other platforms, take some of those and write blog posts. There's a lot of things that online marketing has been tremendously beneficial for me. And it's no different for any other business owner unless you're not going to be consistent. But if you're committed, you don't have to do them every day. That's just mine. But if you're going to show up on Wednesdays at noon, then show up on Wednesdays at noon. But let people know where to look for you and how to expect you. And I promise you, there is someone out there looking for each one of us.
Yes.
But if
Yeah.
we
Oh,
show
I
up, they'll
agree.
never find us. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Content creation, content creation. But above and beyond that, that content creation needs to be purposeful and meaningful. I see a lot of people who just throw content out there for the sake of it. And so what I've heard you say today is that you are creating content that is purposeful, it is meaningful. You're giving people some inspiration as you go. One thing that I am looking so forward to, and tell me what you think about this. I've had this discussion with several people already on my show, but you know, Facebook recently gave us the opportunity to create live videos, and that's wonderful. But they haven't given us the tools yet, although it will be coming out for us to be able to do an interview show such as we're doing today.
Yes.
With each other very easily on Facebook. I mean, you can if you have high dollar programs to do that with, but to just get on there like we're doing with this interview on YouTube, we're not quite there yet. But I am looking forward to the day when I can do all of that, all of my content creation through videos on Facebook, because that's really where my audience. Now, some people's audience is on Twitter, some on Instagram, but for me, and I think for you too, the majority of my audience is on Facebook. So I'm having to create these videos right now on YouTube, which is great, and it has served me well. But then I go and I share that over. I'm just waiting for them to come out with that opportunity right there.
Well, let me tell you a little piece of a little nugget that I gleaned. I think it was last week. I was about 2 hours away from home. My daughter and I, she's also my youngest daughter, is also my my business manager. I'm not supposed to say assistant anymore. I said, you
she has a title.
You give yourself a promotion. Just know you're not getting a raise right now.
Yeah, there you go.
But we traveled to a university that's about 2 hours from our home to actually hear Randy Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg's sister, speak during lunch. And this is an important lesson for your listeners, because it was very impactful for me. The feature that you just mentioned, Facebook Live, was actually a 12-year-old idea that they deemed initially as a total failure. And they had to wait for the season and the timing. No, ma'am, I'm very serious. And she talked about that. It was they did something called, I can't remember, like a brainstorming session, all the things that they wish Facebook in the early days, because she's not even with them anymore. But in the early days, they would just get together and just kind of have these mad scientist kind of idea sessions. And that was one of the things. And now it's such a vital new feature that everybody's trying to get on. It rivals or is surpassing Periscope. And my nugget or my tip to any of you out there watching and listening is, don't ever throw away or discount your great idea, no matter how dismal of a failure you think it is. Sometimes a no is just a not right now. So
yeah, it's just timing. It's all about timing.
Absolutely.
And I think too, one of the cool things about video, whether that is YouTube or you mentioned Periscope, whatever platform you decide to use to post your videos, even if you're just putting them on your website, videos are so important right now, and they're long lasting. You know, if I were to go down to the local TV station and try to take an ad out there, it's going to cost me tens of thousands of dollars for a limited amount of airtime. They're only going to show that ad so many times per day for so many seconds, and it may only run for a few months or however long my contract with them is, but it's very expensive. But when I make a video online, that lasts indefinitely. I get to control the content. I get to decide how long that ad lasts. And so I know, for example, the people that advertise on this show, our sponsors that advertise on this show, they buy that spot once and they get to share that video indefinitely. They write over and over on all of their platforms, and they have pretty much a captive audience. They have people who are actually seeing that, instead of, because it is such a a short, you saw at the beginning of the show, it was such a short blip. People aren't getting up and walking away. They're actually getting to see the website and they go, oh, I know where to go now for that. I can just click on this link and it'll take me right there. They don't have to wait until the commercial's over and go, I don't remember. They can rewind,
Yeah.
right? We can't rewind commercials
Absolutely.
on TV, but we can rewind. I guess you can if you record it, but, but typically speaking, because you have a captive audience and at the cost of zero. I mean, it does not
Yes.
cost you anything to make a Facebook Live video. You can do that right from your handheld device or from any place too. You can be, I've seen people doing that in their car. I don't recommend doing that while you're driving, but they do. It's unfortunate, but they do.
But it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful option to have, you know.
It
that
is.
We can do
It
this
is.
now. So.
Yes, yeah, I think video is definitely, that's my soapbox. I'll get off of it, but I think video
It's
is
okay,
definitely
it's
the
your
way to
show.
go. Yeah, oh, I just love video, and I've been in love with video ever since I learned how to use it. So tell me some of the things that you do specifically, strategically. I don't need all the nitty-gritty details, but what do you do strategically to market your brand? And you are your brand. You are the face of your brand. So what are you doing to get yourself out there?
Well, the first thing is I'm committed to showing up consistently. And I think that is such a vital first step, no matter how it is that you show up and where. You choose one or two specific places. Like for mine, it is social media. Primarily the platforms that I am best at are Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Those are my main three that you can find me on consistently, as in every weekday. Now, if you're on my personal Facebook pages, then you'll see me on the weekends as well, but those are usually just for friends. So you have to show up and you have to be intentional about what you want to project, all right? You always have to make sure that people know what you and your brand stand for, so that be committed to your message, as I would say, in season and out of season. Because when people think of Marcia Whyte in business, I want them to think of Gratitude Speak, and vice versa. I do a lot of networking. That's very intentional. And because how I teach clients to have real relationships, never, just like you're told, never be afraid to ask for the sale. I'm going to say this to you all. Never be afraid to ask for the referral. If you have delivered the value, and there should be some kind of criteria that your clients can judge when you set the expectation before starting to work with them, then you can say, and what I'd like for you to do, the highest compliment you can give me is a referral. Who do you know?
Yes, absolutely.
And so those are the three primary ways. Now, if I want to get any deeper, they're going to have to get on the Book Me link and talk to me more, because I don't want to give away the store.
No, absolutely not. And you know, that's the thing. I believe in, I'm going to talk about this for just a moment. I've made several videos about this, some of the live videos that I've done on my Facebook business page, and some that I've done on YouTube. I talk about this a lot. I think that there's a certain amount of information, pertinent, viable, usable information, that we as business people in this day and age need to simply just give away. We just need to do that. And I use this example. If I walk around life like this with my clenched fist hands and I say, I'm not giving anything away for free, then I might be able to hold on to what I have, but I promise you no more will come in.
Absolutely.
So if you walk around like this and you let some things out of your clenched fist hands, then more business will come to you. Mm-hmm. And I believe that you give away a certain amount for free, but we all have to eat. And I love the passage in the Bible. It says a man is worthy of his hire. And so we all have to eat. We all have businesses that we're trying to build. And I can only give away so much. For example, and I know you're going to understand this, you have your program that you've just developed, and I'm in the middle of developing a course that should be launching in October sometime soon. And you know, that course has taken me weeks and weeks, and a lot of tears, a lot of sweat to develop. And there's some information in that course that is going to, I believe, help revolutionize people's marriages. And so if people's marriages are suffering, they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to get a divorce, and I really hate to see that happen. That's $1 billion industry that nobody needs to participate in. Or hopefully they'll do the other choice, and that is to seek the help of a professional marriage counselor. And marriage counseling is extremely expensive. So I'm offering a seminar course that is a fraction of the cost of counseling, and certainly a whole lot better option than divorce, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that I've spent a lot of time developing this course. I should be paid for that. However, giving away a great amount of information that will help people as I go along the way. If they want more information, then they're going to have to pay for it. Just like you get on to group and you talk about certain things and you're giving away a lot of information, but if people want more, and I believe they do, they're going to have to pay for that course that you've developed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we can be stingy in business, but it will get you nowhere. Nobody will even know who you are. So when it comes time for them to take your course, they say, why in the world would I want to take your course? I know nothing about you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When you're heart-centered, as the phrase has been coined, more comes to you. When you give out, and it really goes to intention as well, Laura, if I can add that. When you give from a place of genuine service, then you'll get it back, oh gosh, 10, 100-fold easily. Because people, again, it goes back to the authenticity. When you operate in integrity and with a sincere desire to serve, and that's not pious or, pie in the sky kind of thing. People want that. People connect with that. They relate to that. And they're longing for it because everything has become, as wonderful as technology is, it also can be misused or used irresponsibly. And so I choose, and it's a choice for all of us, I choose to use it so that people know who and what they're getting when they deal with Marcia Whyte and Gratitude Speak. And then they can make the choice as to whether to take that further or not. Because I'm still going to be here.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I just love that. And I like that you said that sometimes the stuff that happens online can be misused. I think that is, we see that, unfortunately. And it's like anything else. There's a potential for good and there's a potential for not so
Absolutely.
good. And what you're doing right now is really bringing some good, and there's some serious value to what you're offering people.
Thank you.
Well, I think that we're getting close to the end of our show here, and I want to give you an opportunity to talk about audience of all these different things. I know your book's going to be coming out, but all of the things that you have going on, leave us with some information on how we can get a hold of you, and any last words of wisdom that you might have. So the floor is all yours, Marcia. Go ahead.
Well, let me tell you how you can contact me. If you'd like to schedule a call, 30 minutes, to see if it's a good fit, to see what it is that you're struggling with and how I can serve you, there is a link on the bottom of the screen, which is my You Can Book Me link. It will take you straight to my calendar. You can copy and paste that into your browser. It's gratitudespeak.youcanbook.me. And when I open my calendar, you will be there. Please understand that the times listed on the calendar are Eastern Standard in the United States. So make that adjustment to your time zone. You can also follow me on Twitter at gratitudespeak. No S on the end. And your
No S.
Yes. Because it's a language.
S.
It's not an accent, it's a language. And then you can also connect with me on Facebook as a private Facebook group called Gratitude Speak Collaborates. And it's for serious entrepreneurs and business owners that want to strengthen their virtual networking skills and get some members-only education. So I'd like to leave you with a quote by one of my favorite authors, if you don't mind.
Marcia, I want you to do that, but as you were talking and leaving us all of your links, one of the things that I thought might be a good idea, if you don't mind, I would like to show everybody your Facebook page, if that's okay. Let me get over there. I'm sorry, not your Facebook. I'm sorry, not your Facebook page, your website. And I know you had told me before the show started that this website is sort of under construction right now. And you're going to be, it's going to go through a metamorphosis here, people. So it is. Yes. I'm assuming that some of the main elements will still be there, but this is.
Yes, ma'am, they will stay.
This is the beautiful Marcia Whyte, and you are such a lovely woman. I have to throw that out there. You're just gorgeous.
Thank you.
And so this is her page, and you can go there. That is gratitudespeak.com. So if you go there, you can get some more information. And that's just one more way I think that people can maybe contact you. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely. So let's, I want to go ahead and let you finish with your quote. I didn't mean to take that away from you, but I wanted our audience.
That's okay. No, I appreciate it. This is by, believe it or not, Dr. Seuss, who I think is fascinating and very telling. He says, you have brains in your head and feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way.
Oh, Marcia, thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura.
And thank you so much. Oh, it's been fun, and we're going to have to do this another time. I'm really excited. When your book comes out, we'll have to do this.
Okay.
Well, Marcia, thank you so much for having been here today. And I want to remind our audience that today you've been watching and listening to Marcia Whyte, and she has some great things going on. You can find her, just start searching Gratitude Speak, and you'll find her. She has some beautiful information for you. And so I would like to give another thank you to our sponsors today, to Renee from, help me out here, Marcia, where's Renee from?
A plan in hand.
Yes, and I kind of want to do a little bit of a spoiler alert for her, but she's going to be on Gratitude Speak giving some information out, isn't she, in November?
Yes, in November. I believe it is the Thursday before Thanksgiving. So if you're a member of the group, you'll get to see her in a 1-hour webinar.
Well, and I want to tell our audience that she's actually going to be on the Get Clear show October 6th, so I'm excited about that as well. And also to Hua Photography, thank you for providing some of the photos that are in today's graphics. So you've been watching the Get Clear show, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.